are welcome to the hosts of The Bride of Alternate Ending.
Hello, ghouls and goblins. Welcome to Bride of Alternate Ending, a horror show. Would you like a bit of podcast, darling? I sure do love this podcast. I do. I am your ghost, Brennan Klein, and with me, as always, is your co-ghost, Tim Brayton. How are you doing today, Tim, darling?
You told me you had practiced for the opening. I was not prepared for that to be it, and I'm very excited. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Brennan?
I'm doing great. This is the first movie from before 1960 that we've done in a while, at least as far as I recall. And I was really taken by the mid-Atlantic accents of the plain Jane couple in The Black Cat, which we will talk about momentarily.
Emphasis on plain.
Yes, this is the second of 3 movies we were discussing that are along the theme of Newlywed Horror. Last month we did Hatchet for the Honeymoon. Now we are doing 1934's The Black Cat. Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi together for, I believe, the first time.
The first on-screen pairing of, I want to say, 5 overall. I'm not 100% sure about that number. There were 4 at Universal specifically, and I think they did at least one independently after Universal.
Yeah, that sounds right. And they did at least one of those like House of Frankenstein / Dracula movies together, right? Because I think
yes, I do believe so.
Because
there
was
like 6, because I don't think I was counting that one.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like I remember like Karloff not playing Frankenstein and somebody else was playing Frankenstein and Lugosi wasn't playing Dracula. It was kind of confusing.
There is definitely a House of movie, I think it's House of Frankenstein, where like it has absolutely, the road has been cleared for Karloff to play Frankenstein and he doesn't, and it's frankly very stupid that he's not.
Oh yes, very, very much. But yes, so we're going even further back in time to this 1934, the originator of their this dynamic duo.
This is certainly the first one, for sure.
Yes, and as the credits say, it is suggested by the Edgar Allan Poe short story, The Black Cat. In that, I think they really liked the title, and they liked the idea of having a black cat in the movie.
And by the way, the answer is there are 7 films they made together, 6 at Universal, and 1 where I believe they don't interact whatsoever called You'll Find Out. I haven't seen it. It is not a horror film.
Okay, but when you watch it, you'll find out how it is.
I will. It's a Kay Kaiser musical comedy.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Okay, actually, I do want to find out. But yes, so it's allegedly based on The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe. Going into this movie, I was like, what is it about The Black Cat that appeals to horror filmmakers so much? Because it's been adapted so many times, at least since the 70s. Sergio Martino did it as Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. Fulci did a version. Argento did a version for Two Evil Eyes. Stuart Gordon did a version for Masters of Horror.
There's at least one other 80s Italian version as well.
They fucking love this story, which is kind of weird because I've never been that interested in The Black Cat. It kind of reads like, yeah?
Well, here's the thing. Go ahead. But let's talk about the story first because it sounds like
Yeah, let's talk about it briefly. But yeah, it kind of just reads like The Telltale Heart plus The Cask of Amontillado in a way that's worse than both of those stories.
Which is exactly how it was adapted in the Roger Corman Poe cycle. It was one of the 3 episodes of Tales of Terror, I think is the title of. It's an anthology with 3 Poe adaptations, and one of them is quite literally it's called The Black Cat, but it's literally like The Black Cat plus The Cask of Amontillado.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense because it's all right there. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I would like to say, based on this 1934 film, as well as most of the subsequent adaptations, I think the appeal of adapting The Black Cat is you can take a plot that has absolutely anything to do with anything else. It's just whatever the fuck story you want to tell, but you put a black cat in it. And you get to say, this is an adaptation of The Black Cat, and then you get all that money that the Poe fans apparently just splash out to go see movies that they think is adapted from The Black Cat. Because
yeah, I suppose. Although I
this
feel like,
isn't even... Go ahead.
I feel like most of them at least bring in the final scene of the short story, The Black Cat, even though they have like... They'll throw in lots of like lesbian fucking before that.
Some of them bring in the final scene.
Yeah.
I would want to tell you, this is not the least faithful adaptation of The Black Cat, titled The Black Cat, that I have seen.
How could that be possible? Wait, which one are you talking about?
There is an Italian film that doesn't have any of the same plot points and does not even have a black cat. It has a charcoal gray cat.
This is outrageous.
This is like you had one job.
Yeah, wait, this isn't... Because I've seen the Fulci one, and I don't recall very much about it, but this is a different one than that?
I'm looking up to remind myself of exactly what the... which version it is here. So let's see. Well, I'll see if I can scratch it up.
Okay, no worries. It looks like there's a 1989 Black Cat. Oh, Il Gatto Nero by Luigi Cozzi.
That's the one.
Oh, Caroline Munro is in this? Okay. I see Tim gave it a review with 1.5 stars. Fascinating.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
But yes, we're here to talk about a movie that's maybe not a 1.5 star movie. The Black Cat.
The first, if I am not mistaken, adaptation of The Black Cat.
I'm willing to believe that, even though I have not researched this even more extensively than we already have. Anyway, this is a Newlywed Horror movie. We are following two newlyweds, Joan and Peter Allison, played by Jacqueline Wells and David Manners. David Manners was in the original Dracula.
He's in Dracula. He's boring lead.
Yeah, Jonathan Harker.
He found a niche, you could say.
He sure did. But there's these
he's also the boring lead in The Mummy.
Is he really?
Yes.
Wow, good for him. I've never seen The Mummy. It's one.
The Mummy's quite good.
Okay, the Universal Mummies. That's one of the corners of that universe that I haven't quite gotten to yet.
I don't necessarily recommend the 40s sequels, but the first Mummy with Karloff is my sort of shitty way of describing it. It's what if Dracula was good.
Ooh, okay, I'm into that.
Right?
Because I fucking hate that Dracula movie.
Dracula's not good. Dracula's bad, in fact.
It is simply bad. But anyway, this is a reunion of Dracula.
It is. Oh, yes.
But yes, this newlywed couple, they are on their beautiful Hungarian honeymoon. Or as I like to call it, a hungy-moon.
Hey.
And they basically kind of just run into this fucking weirdo, or I guess he runs into them. He needs a space on the train, and he ends up just chilling out in their carriage.
And it's just such a great moment, because it's like you can just tell immediately what kind of movie you're in for, because they're just hanging out, being the world's least interesting people. And then the door slides open, and there is Lugosi framed inside of it. And it's like, oh, this is the worst thing that could happen to you on your honeymoon. Is Bela Lugosi just kind of like sidling into your train car?
Oh yeah, but the weird thing is that he's the hero of the movie.
He is a character presented with very few negative shadings, although not zero negative shadings.
No, certainly not zero. But his name is Dr.
Verdegast.
Verdegast. Sorry, so he just comes in and is eerie at them for a while.
Yes, exactly.
And he does this thing. It's Bela Lugosi. He does his creepy thing. The wife falls asleep. He starts stroking her hair, and he's like, oh.
It's even creepier because he doesn't stroke her hair. He like places his hand just above her hair, like hovering it, and it's so fucking weird.
It's really weird. And he's like, "Oh, forgive my indulgence, sir." Right. No, I don't think I will actually. But it's 1934, so this is totally fine.
Right.
You can.
That's the other thing that's amazing. He's like, the husband sees him doing it. It's not a plot point.
You can air stroke my wife on the train. That's cool. Yeah. But yeah, so it turns out he's just got, I guess, escaped from a
gulag of some extraction.
Yes, in post-World War I. And he is... So wait, he's going to visit Boris Karloff, right?
He is on his way to Karloff's place, yes. We are told that he's going to pay a friendly visit to his dear old friend from before the war, a certain Dr. Polzig. But it turns out it is not a friendly visit.
It really does turn out.
I will also tell you that the viewing of the film that I made to record this podcast was my 4th time watching The Black Cat. and I don't know what happens in this movie. So like the plot summary part is going to be a lot of trial and error and maybe back and forth.
Yeah, I think we really need to lean on each other, and so far that's been working okay.
Yes.
But yes, I'm just going to call them Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi.
They're Karloff and Lugosi.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So Karloff is this eccentric architect who, it turns out, has built this ultra-modern home on the remains of this crumbling World War I fort that Bela Lugosi was running, but then it got taken over by Karloff's people, I think, and they hate each other.
I feel like at least some of this would be mildly more straightforward if you knew the ins and outs of what was going on in Austria-Hungary during World War I better than an American in the 21st century is apt to know. Certainly I don't have that knowledge at my fingertips.
Yeah, and I would not say that
I think just in terms of like who was on which side of the war, I don't think that's supposed to be as unclear as it is, because I think you would kind of know, because it all happened 15 years ago when this movie came out.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and we can't blame it for being tied to the time in which it was made. And yeah, anyway, so it is what it is, and Bela Lugosi had a wife and a kid, and
both named Karin.
Yes, and
so when he's talking about Karin, you always have to sort of take a beat to figure out which one he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. And Boris Karloff is married to the younger Karin, and is the older one dead in a glass case?
The older one is dead in a glass case, and the younger one, he tells Lugosi, has died, but that was a lie because he's keeping her.
Yes, and she's
as
kind
his
of like
child bride.
Hypnotized by Satan or something.
Right, because also Polzig is a Satanist, and it is implied that his modernist architecture is his way of having constructed a satanic ritual site in some fashion. And also, I think it's worth just to further muddy the waters, Polzig is based on a real life human, Hans Polzig, who was a former collaborator of the director of this film, Edward G. Ulmer. They worked together in Germany in the silent era. Polzig did the sets for a movie that Ulmer was working on. So he's based on someone that the director of the film liked, and presumably did not consider to be a murderous Satanist. I think so. I don't know what we can say.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
Yes.
Because of their, this tangled web that has been woven between these two men, they are kind of lethargically mean to one another for an hour or so. It's a 65-minute movie. Mm-hmm. And this white bread couple is kind of caught in the middle after their car gets overturned.
Like, Polzig collects women. He has a basement full of frozen corpse women.
Yes.
Whether they are trapped in a hypnotic state or whether they've been preserved after death is not something the film really specifically goes into. I get the impression they're dead, and then they are like just sort of snow whited into these glass cases after they die.
Yeah.
And I think we are meant to infer, although I don't recall the film like specifically telling us, that he would be interested in taking Joan Allison to add to his collection.
I would certainly think so. He definitely wants to sacrifice her in some capacity.
Yes.
And yeah, that's kind of what it is, because Karloff doesn't want to let them leave. Lugosi's trying to help them leave. Don't know why he brought them there in the first place.
Yeah, don't know why Lugosi brought them there in the first place. Don't know why Karloff is letting Lugosi live. Those are, to me, the big two don't knows of this movie.
Yeah, and just to nod at that title, there is a black cat wandering around, and Lugosi is very scared of it.
Yes, Lugosi is on multiple occasions. It's very Hamlet-esque. He's ready to move. He's ready to take his revenge, which is clearly the reason he's come here. The whole time it was just to murder the man who betrayed the country and stole his wife. But then every time he's about to kill Karloff, a black cat shows up, and he does this very, very Lugosi, full ham, arch the arms, raise the eyebrows, fling yourself backwards gesture of ailerophobia. and it's great every time it happens. And one time he throws himself through a window.
He does, and one time he throws a knife at the cat. This is the first time he sees the cat.
So it's that because there's two cats because he kills that cat. He throws that cat at the knife and kills it because later in dialogue they talk about how he killed the cat. And then there's another cat that shows up. It's like, oh, so apparently Karloff just has like an endless supply of black cats.
Okay. See, there was I entered a hypnotic trance state, much like some of the women in this movie, by about the 30-minute marker, and I was getting kind of lost. Mm-hmm. Good to know. So he's still the hero of the movie, and he didn't save the cat. How can this be a true screenplay?
They didn't have those rules yet. That's why they had to write those rules down. So
to make movies good.
Yes. Also, I suspect the movie somehow in its muddy, addled brain has it in its head that David Manner's character, Bobby Joe Allison, what's his name? Peter Allison. I think he's like ostensibly the hero because he's not Lugosi.
Okay, well, no, that's true. Sorry, I've been calling Lugosi the hero, but he
feels like the hero because he's an interesting protagonist, whereas the Allisons are just kind of there for not even really reasons. Like, it's not like the plot wouldn't go if they weren't there.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, I guess they're supposed to be our audience entry point into the movie.
Right.
But I guess Bela Lugosi is more like the Van Helsing of this movie, like
yeah, that's a good comparison to make.
Deuteragonist or something.
Anti-hero, maybe.
I guess so.
I don't know if they really used the phrase anti-hero yet in 34, but I mean he does like skin a guy. So he
does, but the guy deserved it.
Well, the guy deserved. Does anyone deserve to be skinned alive?
I suppose you're right. But anyway, so
spoiler alert, that happens like right at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, sorry, spoiler alert for this almost a century-old movie.
Right.
But yeah, so you've seen it 4 times. Is that because you like the black cat?
I obviously don't dislike the black cat. I would say so there's a trilogy actually of Bela Lugosi Poe adaptations at Universal in the 30s. This was the second. It was preceded by The Murders in the Rue Morgue, which is roughly this faithful of an adaptation.
Oh.
And it was followed by another Lugosi Karloff called The Raven, which is the most interesting as an adaptation because it basically takes the position, you can't adapt The Raven, so that's a silly thing to even try doing. Let's just kind of riff on like the idea of Poe as a literary figure instead.
I like that. I like a pastiche.
Yeah, no, I think I like the other two better than this one.
Okay.
This movie is very confusing, as we are clearly landing on.
Yeah.
I also feel the damage done to this film by David Manners and the lady, whatever her name, Jacqueline Wells. The damage done to this film by them being such completely dull non-entities is more significant than any damage done to the other 2 films in this trilogy.
Interesting. See, because here's the thing. I didn't hate them. I was happy just to ignore them. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're like great functional parts of the movie. But I'm saying I kind of expect a movie like this to have like some normies thrown into the mix who have to deal with shit.
No, for sure. That's the thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just...
I less object to their roles in the drama than I object to them because they are such very impersonal figures.
Yeah, that's true. They are a newlywed couple who conspicuously does not kiss for at least like a full 50 minutes of the movie. They're very stiff. They're very odd, but like in a milquetoast way.
Right.
It's all very sanitary. I mean, know.
David Manners is someone who I mean, largely based on this and Dracula, he's definitely better in The Mummy. I associate him with just kind of like the part of the horror movie that exists because it needs structure, but you don't enjoy. It's like,
yeah,
he's just there to scaffold the movie. And like, he's such a non-entity in both this and Dracula, I think. And, so I guess damage is maybe a harsh word for it. I still have this movie at 3.5 stars. I like this movie. I do like this movie. I just find it spends a lot of time not being heavy silhouettes of cats and shadowy doors opening. It just spends a lot of time with like these two super boring people not really interfacing with the plot much.
Oh yeah, and they're so mannered. There is a great moment that I was really amused by where he's like, you know, we need to leave soon. But first I have to get dressed. And while he's saying this, he's wearing a suit and tie. So it's like, what's next? What's the next step for you? But yeah, what you were saying about the lack of like conspicuous shadows and spookiness in a lot of this movie, part of that's because of the modernist design that they're doing, which is it's an interesting thing to have in a Universal horror movie.
I think it's the strength of this movie more than anything else, honestly. Those sets are fucking cool.
They are cool, but here's the thing. I found them kind of antiseptic, and it was hard for me to really care. It felt like it could have been like any kind of like space movie from the 50s. I want my Universal horror movies from the 1930s to look like Son of Frankenstein. Like I want them to look like that. And this just wasn't doing that for me. I really appreciate what it's doing, especially the whole like kind of metaphor of it being built on the bones of this crumbled structure and getting to like dig into the basement where the remains still are. That's all really cool. But just when we're in the house itself, it's very bright, it's very clean. I just wasn't very interested in it.
No, that certainly is a legitimate response, I'd say. I do like about this period of Universal horror where it doesn't know what it is yet. It doesn't even quite know what the word horror is pointing at, because this is a fairly brand new word at this point. Like it was kind of in 1931 when Frankenstein and Dracula came out. Critics were like describing them as containing horrors, but not like horror is a genre and these belong to it. So the idea that there is a genre of film called horror and it does certain things is just not in... It exists, but it's new. And so I like about this era of Universal that they're still trying to figure out like what does and doesn't work. Does a brightly lit modernist building work? Maybe not to be scary. But I also like, and sort of to the point that this is a movie about... Sort of. It's a movie that says World War I, or, you know, the war a couple times. Is it a movie that's about the trauma of World War I? No, not really so much as it seems to think it might have been at once upon a time. But insofar as it is a movie about, we just had this great big old war, and we are dealing with what that means for us as a civilization that has just gone through a massively traumatic transformation. I like the idea of within modernism, like this is when modernism is modern as opposed to now, when modernism is that thing that happened 80 years ago. Within modernism, trying to speculate as to whether modernist design is like evil and dehumanizing. I think that's a neat project to me. I don't think the movie is aware it's doing that or is smart enough to do anything with it, but I do like it as a horror setting for that reason.
I definitely buy that, and it is shockingly modern. It is unusual to see a movie of this vintage looking like this, and that is interesting in and of itself. And we do get some of the horror stuff that is kind of over designed in the way that I want, especially like when we're dealing with a woman's hair on a pillow. That tends to go great for this movie. But yeah, and we do get like the big shadow of the cat, and Bela Lugosi falls through a fucking pane of glass.
Big shadow of the cat is one of the best things that happens in this movie.
I completely agree. Oh, I also really like the kind of satanic temple in the basement and that kind of big X-shaped pulpit that Joan ends up getting tied to. I really like the design of that. For sure. No, I'm pro the design of this movie. I'm not always pro the way that the design is like activated by the movie. Yes.
If that makes sense. But I am pro the design.
No, I totally get that. Ooh, although honestly to me the creepiest thing about the modernist structure on top is the fact that all the bedrooms are connected with these like those hotel doors that kind of like slide open and you can close them or open them or shut them. Yep. And there's this weird part where Bela Lugosi's like, "Would you like me to close the door?" And I'd be like, "Yes, please." But Peter Allison's like, "Oh, I'd sleep in a cold sweat if you didn't leave the door open." I'm like, "You're talking to Bela Lugosi. What's wrong with you?"
Right?
Like, "I'd be terrified if you shut the door separating our bedrooms before I fall unconscious for 8 hours."
Right. I feel like the movie has not yet determined whether it is possible to make Bela Lugosi not creepy. And I feel like we eventually landed on in the world, no, it's not. Like, even when he's a good guy, he's a creepy good guy. I feel like this movie is meant. We know that he's like a guy who has his darkness. He's a guy who's come there to murder his ex-friend. He's a guy who skins.
He's damaged.
He's damaged. Like, there's definitely a lot of like horror elements in him. He's definitely at best an anti-hero, as I said. But those opening scenes in the train, I think we are meant to at least buy that the couple views him as a warm figure and they feel safe around him. And I think that's what that door moment is. It's like he is meant to be a comfort to them in this strange satanic environment. And I just simply don't think the movie can cash that check. I don't think anyone watches this movie and feels like Karloff or that Lugosi is like soothing.
No, not at all. I didn't even process that could have been possible. I mean, obviously that line is there. But no, he's so fucking eerie.
Well, because like they go with him. Like, he comes into the car and he's like just looming in their door, and he almost but doesn't quite touch Joan's head. And like all throughout this, they like then choose to get in a fucking cab with him. So like the movie is under the impression that we will believe that they trust him for some reason.
Yeah, and
I think
they're also very bad at drawing boundaries, I guess. They're like, this is their honeymoon. They're like, yeah, let's hang out with this strange Hungarian who just escaped from a gulag.
Right. Neat that Lugosi is actually playing a Hungarian. He did not do that very often, and it's nice that it feels congruent that he has that accent.
Yes. No, that was really cool. That's something I was thinking about but did not write down in my notes, so I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, so you do like this movie, but are there parts that don't work as well for you that we haven't already talked about?
I feel like we've spent mostly time talking about things that don't work as well.
Okay, maybe you're right.
The plot's confusing. The plot is just fucking, I don't know. It's a vibes movie. Like, you're in here and you're like, well, Lugosi and Karloff are like behaving menacingly towards each other, so I guess I'm here for that. But like, what the stakes are, why any characters are making the choices they're making. Again, why does Karloff not kill Lugosi immediately? What's the point of the chess game that doesn't seem to actually change anything that is subsequent to the chess game that was meant to be about like who is in control of the situation between Lugosi and Karloff?
Well, I think it's that chess games are metaphors, Tim.
Well, again, it is vibes. The vibes are good, but the story's a crazy fucking mess without any sort of motivations going on for any of the characters, really.
Oh yeah, and there's just, they keep throwing shit in too. Like, at a certain point, they're like, "Oh yeah, and the building's laced with dynamite," and you're like, "Oh well."
Yeah." Like, when that shows up, it's like halfway through the movie, Lugosi mentions that the house is full of dynamite. There has been zero foreshadowing of this, and he's just like, "You must be careful not to move too fast, or you will set off the dynamite." It's like, what dynamite?
Yeah, which Karloff
We're upstairs and the dynamite's in the basement. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. And Karloff installed a dynamite lever, just in case he wanted to set off the dynamite.
You never know. Well, you're the local Satanist. You have to assume you're going to get a mob attacking at some point.
You're right. It's good to be prepared. I had a question. So
yes.
There is one of the many random ass things in this movie is Karloff playing the organ, playing the classic horror music. They're like, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
Toccata and Fugue.
Yeah. Is that from this? Or
no, I mean the piece of music was written like in the 1780s.
No. But I mean the fact that it is like used as this trope of we are mimicking old horror movies. Like this is used in SpongeBob when they're making fun of old horror movies.
I don't know when the association with the piece of music and horror starts. it is plausible this is the first time it was used in a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think the piece of music is inherently heavy, although it's not inherently scary. I don't know. That's not a question I have an answer to. Certainly, I did not first encounter it in this movie in that context, as neither did you. It's tough to say. Like, would it have started with movies or would it have preceded movies, I guess is really the question. Because if it starts with movies, yes, this is probably the first time.
Okay. Yeah, well, see, sorry, I'm trying to look it up now because I just always assumed, based on context clues, that it was like from one of the old Phantom of the Opera movies. But the one that was in sound came after this. So I have a lot to learn. According to this IMDb list, it might have been used in the 1931 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde as well.
Oh, I think that's possibly correct.
Yeah, I have not seen that one. I've only seen the John Barrymore one.
The thing about Universals, and this actually transitions into something I was going to want to talk about, they all used like classical music sparingly. Like Dracula has Swan Lake in its opening credits scene. So they're just kind of like latching on to classical music sort of at random because like Swan Lake is not scary. And that has not evolved to become like horror equals Swan Lake thing.
Yeah.
But I do think, and Jekyll and Hyde is, I think, RKO. I don't think it's, I know it's not Universal. I think it's RKO. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of doing the same thing. It's like, here's just a piece of slightly ominous or melancholy or minor key sounding classical music. Let's just slap it in to horror. Whereas I feel like in this movie, it's actively being used to create a horrifying feeling.
Yes, I completely agree. And also on this list, it looks like they used the same piece of music in The Raven the following year. So maybe
that I don't recall.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it. But yeah, like they ended up using it in Gremlins 2. Like it's pastiche horror music at this point.
Oh, for sure. And you know, I want to talk about the music in this movie because it's 34, and sound has existed for 7 years, but really only for 5. And musical underscoring in movies, non-diegetic underscore, has really only been popular for about a year at the point this comes out. It's not invented by King Kong, but King Kong is what made it kind of like a thing people did. So you watch like a Dracula or a Frankenstein from 31, they just don't really have music. They have the opening credits music, as we just discussed, and then they kind of are just not musical by and large for the rest of their short running times. Whereas the Black Cat has just kind of wall to wall music. And I don't like it.
I can't say it stood out to me. I can't call it to mind at the moment. What don't you like about it?
It's just kind of haphazardly chosen. It's all classical music. It's not like it's an original. I mean, I'm sure there's some original transitional pieces or whatnot, but it's all pre-existing stuff just kind of being dropped in more or less like irrespective of what's happening in the story or like what emotions trying to be generated. And I feel like there's at least a couple places where it's working against the like scariness. The music's just kind of wallpaper.
Got it.
So they're learning because this is a new technology in 1934.
Yeah. And it's a microcosm of what they're doing with the horror genre in general, with every piece of this movie.
Yeah, we don't know what it is yet. Is it something that can sustain this kind of music? And the answer is, it turns out to me at least, no.
Yeah, no, like I said, I entered a fugue state at a certain point. Like I didn't dislike this movie either. I gave it
fugue state.
Ooh. But yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I had a totally nice time watching it. It's kooky in a way that I found completely pleasant
it's
to engage
very
with.
kooky, and that's what we haven't talked about at all, really, except in sort of bits and pieces. We've talked about the things we didn't like. We haven't talked about, other than the sets, the things that I do like a lot.
Oh, yeah,
the reasons people watch these. Lugosi and Karloff together are the best. Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I find Lugosi to be such a complicated character to talk about because he has so much presence, and I love seeing him in a horror film just kind of like bugging his eyes out and flailing his arm back behind his head as he recoils from a cat. I think he's like a terrible actor, but he's so compelling of a screen presence, and I just never know quite what to do with that.
Yeah, well, it's just he has a lot of energy that he just kind of it's a stolid energy, but it radiates out from him, and he just kind of projects it toward the screen, and it is doing something.
It's doing something. There's a great moment where I think his scene partner in that moment is David Manners, because who else would he be talking to?
Of course.
Where they're trying to figure out like what's happening in this creepy satanic house of modernist edges, and Lugosi has the line, "Supernatural? Perhaps. Baloney? Perhaps not." And just like, because David Manners says like this is all baloney, and like just having the inherent dignity to be able to say that line, baloney? Perhaps not. It's just like, God bless. Like you maybe are the best actor who ever lived. I don't know. I couldn't have delivered that line without giggling at myself.
Yeah, no, he's got something, and not to brag, but I live very close to a Ralph's grocery store that is the former site of the hospital where he went to kick his morphine addiction. So I feel very close to Bela Lugosi.
Okay, you should.
But yeah, no, he's really charming. Obviously Karloff's the better actor. That's not really a question.
Karloff's the better actor, and he's better in this, but I also feel like he makes less of an impression on me.
That's exactly where I was going. It's just like this character, it doesn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. He's maybe too vague. He's like a modernist architect / old school Satanist / hypnotic. Like there's just too many things and not enough, kind of at the same time.
And it's and I said this in my initial Letterboxd review back from when I first logged this film. Not the first time I saw it, but I think this was 2021. It feels like he is allowing his hair to do most of the work of character creation. Which
there are plenty of good characters that are mainly just hair.
Sure, but... and I mean his hair is good in this movie, or it's bad, it's dreadful, but it's like compellingly dreadful.
It really is.
It's this like triangle shaped flat top that has like gray edges.
And it's distinctly different from the Frankenstein flat top. Mm-hmm. It's actually like appropriately kind of Frankenstein meets Dracula, because it's very flat, but it has that really pronounced widow's peak to it. Mm-hmm. I mean, both of these guys are just fucking weirdos, so it is nice to spend some time with them.
No, for sure. But like, I think Lugosi's the one that's just going ham bone on it, and Karloff is not. And Karloff's just not getting anything out of the part that's not there, and what's there is sort of very confusing and half-baked.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of why the Black Cat is maybe not mentioned in the same breath as Frankenstein or even Dracula.
But to be clear, I do like Karloff in this. I think that he, like Lugosi, just can't turn it off. He's just not turning it on quite as hot as Lugosi is.
Yes, because he does know how to control it to some degree.
Well, that's the thing. He's a good actor, so he knows that he can't just kind of fire hose kitsch all over the screen, and it's the fire hose of kitsch that's precisely what makes Lugosi like so compelling in this movie.
And it is, it's a welcome oasis in some of the less kitschy parts of the movie, because it gets pretty milquetoast. It does. And like I said, I don't hate the couple. I think they have some not very good comic relief, but also comic relief that I don't think is actively toxic.
And in 1930s Universal horror, the comic relief isn't toxic is definitely an achievement.
Yes, especially because we do get the comic relief comedy cops in one prolonged scene that we did not need to be here. Mm-hmm.
A scene that notably neither you nor I even thought about bringing up until this moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is... I do resent that it exists, and I had to think about it, but I just prefer to forget it.
That's fair.
And also, comedy cops are... I've seen them. I can stomach it. I've tasted little, droplets of the poison, and I'm immune at this point.
Yeah.
I've seen Halloween 5 and The Last House on the Left multiple times.
And I mean, these comedy cops are just not even in the same universe as the Last House on the Left comedy cops.
No, they're really not.
So,
God, what a terrible choice. Anyway, back to the Black Cat. Well, is there anything else? I feel like we've covered so much of it. It's a 65-minute movie.
It's a 65-minute movie, and we've talked for 2/3 of it
Yeah,
at this
really
point.
have.
And I mean, you asked me, do I like this movie? Obviously, I like it. I've seen it 4 times. I kind of pushed to do it for this podcast when I heard you hadn't seen it.
You did. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it has the pleasure that all Universal horror movies have for me, which is that 60 minutes, 65 minutes in this case, and that's where most of them live, is that 55 to 70 minute range. That's short enough that vibes are actually enough for me. And it's got good vibes. I don't know. I like the sets. I like the weird, creepy modernism. I like Lugosi just being spectral.
Yeah.
I like the shadows of the cats. So yeah, no, I find this movie very easy to sit through. It's certainly not my favorite Universal film. Like I said, it's not even my favorite Lugosi Poe from the mid-30s. But I have a good time with it.
Yeah. No, I think it's totally worth watching if you're someone who has seen their fair share of Universal horror and knows what they're getting into, has seen some of the better ones, and you want a little taste. You want to take a little break in Halloween season. You could watch this in a lunch break if you push it by 5 minutes or so. You know,
I think so. Yeah. Have you? I need to ask. Have you seen Murders in the Rue Morgue?
I have not. Do they keep the solution to the mystery that's in the original Poe story?
There's not a mystery to begin with.
Oh, okay.
There is a scene where an ape kills a woman and shoves her up a chimney in Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Okay, well, sounds cool.
And there is a scene where people outside the room at the time it happens debate what language they heard from inside the room.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So by the standards of the movie we just watched, it is a very faithful adaptation.
I love it. Okay, excellent. I do want to check that out. I haven't delved that far into the non-Universal monsters realm of Universal horror.
Murders in the Rue Morgue is one of the most sordid souled pre-code movies ever made.
I love that especially because this is a pre-code movie, but it, like you said, they hadn't quite figured out horror yet.
It's antisocial. I mean, he's got all the dead women he's saving in his basement.
Oh, certainly, and also
there's sexual kink here. Yeah,
and this movie does not end the way that it ends when the code happens. Like that, it wouldn't have happened.
For sure.
Bela, I mean, we talked about it already, but Bela Lugosi first rips off Boris Karloff's shirt and then his skin. Yep. And it's all in silhouette, mainly because they couldn't make it happen on screen.
They probably did, let alone the no code doesn't mean it was fucking anarchist paradise. There were still rules.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But also the technological capacity to convincingly show someone getting flayed alive probably just wasn't there in 34.
No, I wouldn't think so. But yeah, it's a very dark ending. It's very brutal, and I believe they explode in dynamite also as part of this.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't set up that there's dynamite in the basement and then not set it off by the end of the movie.
No, you can't. Chekhov would be crying in the theater. I don't know if Chekhov was alive in 1934. I should check.
I don't think so, but I like the idea of Chekhov being a big old fan of Bela Lugosi.
Me too. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us.
I think we've probably talked ourselves out.
Yes.
On the Black Cat, 1934.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Chekhov died 30 years before this movie came out. Oh, that's too bad.
That is too bad.
He was only 44 when he died.
I knew he was young. I didn't realize he was that young.
Yeah. Anyway, so thank you so much, everybody, for listening. You can find more episodes of the show and others on alternateending.com. You should join the Patreon. The link's in the show notes. You can get the option to vote for certain movies that we discuss on this podcast. People didn't vote for this one, but they did vote for Hatchet for the Honeymoon. We have a trivia night coming up. If you're on the tier that has trivia, you'll be able to participate. Information about that will be shared online soon. Probably before you hear this episode. Yes. So keep an eye out for that. And thanks so much for listening, everybody. Next week you will be hearing the preview for the cinema of June 2026. And let me tell you, What a year for the movies. All right, everybody. Bye.
She hate me.